Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Great Lakes Disc YouTube channel. Remember to hit that subscribe button, maybe even tell a friend about us. Today, I'm super excited. I get to interview a national champion. Never done that before. Super stoked. Stick around to the end for your chance to win an Innovadisc that ends in bird. I wonder if you can figure it out. And we're back with Benji Zorn. I'm super excited for the world to learn a little bit more about this outstanding human and fine young gentleman. So, Benji, why don't you take a second to tell the world about how you got into disc golf with your disc golf origin story?
Yeah, of course. So I was originally born in Iowa, which is kind of funny because a lot of great players like Annenberg are obviously from Iowa. But I moved to Grand Rapids when I was like 7, and I had a great set of neighborhood friends. Kind of around 12, their kind of dad showed them disc golf, and our friend had a wonderfully large backyard, and he had some baskets. So we kind of just started going back there and playing, and it kind of just kept developing. I am someone who hates to lose.
Okay.
So I immediately looked up some videos online of kind of how to play. They all were kind of whipping some tomahawks or sidearms. So I tried to figure out the backhand. Um, yeah, I remember basically just screaming "Big Heiser." It was like one of the first terms I learned, and I just throw it as high as I can, and it would crash. It was so awesome. But yeah, just kept playing and developing. I live right by Cascade Park, so that was kind of the first course, and where I played probably over 500 rounds. Yeah, I would just go there, continue to play, and then yeah, they kind of started to stop playing, and I just kind of never let it go. I started to play tournaments and just kind of dive deeper and deeper into the community. Flat River Disc Golf League is those are some really good friends. My neighborhood friends was really good friends with Brett Good. So me and him got really close, and he definitely has helped develop my own form and develop some of those kind of mental skills. And we played so many rounds together when I was a kid to really kind of help hone my skills. And yeah, it's just kind of been up and up from there. I currently am a full-time student at Ferris State. I took that route. I felt like that was the best decision for me, and I just feel very grateful for where I'm at.
Yeah, we won't jump down that story too fast, but yeah, it seems like you made the right decisions with your game so far. So you mentioned you got into tournaments. Do you remember how old you were when you got into your first tournament?
Yeah, I think the first one I played was in 2017. So that was 6 years ago. I'm 19 right now. So like 13, 12.
Yeah, and so when you're going to these tournaments, obviously you're playing with adults. So like, when did you know you were good?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, I always wanted to play up. That was something like I always had played soccer as a kid, and it was like you're always gonna play the U15 when you're U13. So I always had played up. So that meant playing with adults, and that was definitely my parents were like, "What is happening?" initially. Yeah. That definitely took some convincing for them to let me keep playing tournaments. But yeah, I mean, it was definitely an adjustment. But I noticed that I had something that they didn't, which was kind of a well-rounded game. I had a lot of distance, both backhand and forehand and putting, which I mean, when you see some AM2 guys, it's like they usually have one really strong, solid strength, but they can lack in other places else, hence why they're 35 and not playing pro. So yeah, I kind of started putting two to two together, but yeah, I just kind of wherever my rating said to play is where I focused. I remember a lot of my things, I just remember hearing little snippets off like YouTube. I remember Paul was always like, play amateur or play events as long as you can until your rating boosts you, so you can practice winning. So that was always something like as AM2 was like, I'm gonna play, I'm gonna win, so I know what it feels like to win. So that's kind of how that went.
Yeah, I think that that's great, and shout out to your parents for supporting you from
Yeah.
that. Because I know like if I like when I was 13, if I looked at my parents and were like, "Hey, I want to go play a disc golf tournament," they would have supported me, but they would have had questions for sure.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
And I think it's great that your generation has the YouTube to go and see all the different shot types, and to learn from these pros that have great followings and great channels and great content. That is something that the disc golf world is very blessed with now, the use of technology.
Couldn't agree more.
So you're very successful early in your career with your game, and obviously high school went really well. Just out of curiosity, were you the valedictorian too?
Our school had to kick that out. I had a 4.2 though. Yeah, we
Yeah.
our my school was super competitive. So I mean there was like kids taking AP credits in the summer, like to boost their GPA. So they had to cut that out. But yeah, I had a 4.2.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Congrats to that. So,
Thank you.
you're good at disc golf. You've probably got a lot of ideas on where you could go to college or what you could go to college for. And you end up going to Ferris State, in my opinion, one of the best disc golf related schools in the nation. If you look up their collegiate disc golf history, how did that come about? What did you know about Ferris before then? Give us a little bit of that story.
Yeah. So the college kind of search for me was both an academic and a disc golf one. Um, I tried to apply to as many universities as I could. I applied to Northwestern, Michigan, Michigan State, Butler, Bradley, just some really well-known schools all across kind of the Midwest. So I kind of did that because I had worked so hard academically. I'd really like to see kind of where I ranked. So those kind of acceptance started coming in, kind of see where I was getting scholarships and then it was kind of to see what programs had disc golf. I mean, other than really Michigan, I mean, Michigan State has developed one now, but they didn't really have one kind of about 2 years ago. So other than Michigan, when they had like Robert Burridge and kind of that
Yeah.
crew, there wasn't really any place to go. I really loved Butler. That's somewhere my sister is now going to go, which I'm super excited for her. But
Nah, nice.
yeah, yeah, they didn't have a program. So I would have had to go in and build that all up, which is something I wasn't opposed to doing, but I would have loved to go into a system that was already set up where I could just play. I didn't have to kind of worry about the logistics. So it kind of just started to come down to more and more that Ferris was that option. Leonard had invited me to a recruiting visit. I felt like I was a D1 5 star, like going to Alabama. He walked me around the course on campus. He took me into his provost office. He showed me the 4 championship rings on his little bulldog, and he just showed me a ton of memorabilia. And I just felt so welcomed, loved, and supported that I just could never get that out of my head when I went to the other universities.
Yeah.
Yeah, on top of that, um, super good friends with all the Ferris guys. Like before I had even like put two and two together. Like Carl is a wonderful person. Zach Sherman, Patrick, Sam Ardeza, like those guys are just like people I always kind of hung around and kind of like gravitated to. And then I started putting two and two together, and they started kind of whispering in my ear, it's like Ferris is like a great option for you. And I was like, it is. And also I'm getting like a pretty good academic scholarship there as well. So it just kind of made sense for that to kind of be my next step.
That's unbelievably cool. I mean, we're really blessed to have a great community in West Michigan and a university in West Michigan that supports disc golf Ferris State does. So let's fast forward to a few days ago, a few weeks ago now. Um, you get to this event, the 2024 Collegiate Nationals. You've been training. You've got a singles portion competition. You've got a team portion competition. You've got different level teams playing at different times. A little bit of pressure probably on you just to be a part of the team, not really to worry about your performance, but you've got to support different levels, and then you get into playing your portion. What's your brain like at that point?
Yeah. So college nationals is a mental battle. Something our team has really tried to kind of work the science on. We do a kind of 10-day long spring break trip where we kind of drive by the courses. We play disc golf pretty much every day to kind of just prepare for that 2 weeks, that next 2 weeks where you're gonna kind of prepare, then go to the nationals. Yeah, so going down, um, it's It was crazy. There's really, yeah, as you said, there's really two main things to focus on. It's the singles aspect, which in reality isn't that large. It's not really kind of the main point. And especially as Ferris, we have such a history of that team aspect. It's really focused on there. But I know that something a strength of mine was my singles. I had been currently at some point I was ranked top three in the entire country for college. So I know that I could bring some skill level if I shoot a really good round. I can kind of bump our team average in terms of that. So that first day was the singles round. Um, it's usually the day everyone's most stressed about because it's that you got no one else there. It's all on you. Um, so yeah, it felt good to put a good round in. We had the morning tee times. It was a super windy day. So getting in there, it had rained in the morning, so it was pretty calm for most of the time we played. I put a solid round out there. It was even. I played with the guy actually, Ben Wagner, who had -2, ends up being on coverage. Such a really nice guy. So I kind of was like, is his gonna make the top 16? And for context, the top 16 are the only ones that play a final nine. So there are around 200, 190 competitors in Division One. There are in kind of that same amount in each other division. There's three divisions: D1, D2, and D3. It doesn't necessarily matter on the school size, on whether the teams can be in each one. So as Ferris State's a Division two school, you can play in D1, D2, and D3. So it's kind of unique in that. But yeah, so I put that round out there and I had to sit. I had to sit and wait all day. A lot of those Power Fives, or those big schools like Cincinnati, NC State, Emporia State, those kind of teams tee later, and they got shooters. They got great guys who are just wonderful in all conditions. So it was a bit nerve-wracking. I had to get my phone pried away from me so I didn't look at scores all day and drive myself insane. But yeah, my even ended up holding. It sat around tied for eighth, which was great. Um, Super excited. That's just kind of a big relief off my shoulders. That's something I trained and wanted all year. It's a lot of pressure because in that top eight, top 16, there's All American, which is something obviously I would want to be, something I was last year. Would hate to kind of digress, so that was something I wanted. But yeah, so getting in that position felt great. And then the next day is that team event. So it's much less stressful because you got the four guys
Yeah.
who are kind of incorporating you in the team. And then, yeah, after that, we played our team round and then was the final nine. So they kind of front load it where the singles is in the front of the week. So later, those teams don't get overshadowed by a singles winner. So we played our team event. We played solid. We kind of missed a few shots, which it happens. It can't be perfect, and that's something I tried to stress to the team all year. It's like all we can do is our best.
Right.
I think that's a really important motto. That's something I try to tell myself during singles. It's you're gonna mess up. I mean, this is golf. This isn't darts where you need to be perfect. You can mess up and you can be okay. So
Yeah.
that's how it felt after the team round, and then it was the final nine. So I was super tired after that team round. We had went and got Jimmy John's, and I wanted to just take a nap. But we turned some hype music on, and we got going, and then started to warm up, feel myself, and I'm like, I got this. It was a motto. My dad had been texting me all week. I can. I believe. So that's anytime I thought negatively, it was something I repeated in my brain. And it really helped solidify that for me. I had a wonderful caddy. He's my doubles partner, Evan McConnell.
Shout out
He's kind of known
Evan.
around, yeah, he's kind of known around the West Michigan area. But yeah, he was there for me. A true fan. He watches scores. I don't watch scores at all. I think that just adds an extra layer of stress that I don't need. So he was there telling me when I need to push the gas and when not to. And a lot of the guys were balls to the walls. They thought they needed to shoot 9 under in 9 holes to win the singles title. And on a course like Winthrop, with the wind up, you don't really need that. You just need to be in bounds. We're not 10-10. We're not 10-90 guys or 10-40. You're not, that's not us. It's college disc golf. We're around 990. And it's really about persevering mentally, is gonna kind of it's gonna be the deciding factor. And yeah, it felt super easy. The longest putt I had all around was the first putt on the first hole. I had a 27 footer. I ended up making that for a birdie. And then the next longest putt was the last hole, 25 feet. Everything else was tap in pars, or I had a tap in birdie on USDGC one because I marked it, but everything else was
That's
just super easy.
that's crazy. So for those of you that aren't putting it together or didn't look at the way the scores are, so you're on a not on the lead card. You're not on you're not on Chase either, right?
I'm on third card.
That's what we thought. So you
Yeah, it
finished
was
and
insane.
there are people still on the course, correct?
Yep,
What
yep.
what are you doing in that time? Who are you with? What are you leaning on? Are you looking at your phone? What are you doing?
Yeah, so I tap in, and it was so weird. We had a huge gallery. We had NC State, one of their best players. We had Emporia State, one of their best players. So we had a huge crowd of like 75 different spectators. We had a Ferris crowd, but I had told them, don't crowd me. Let's give me my space. So I wasn't getting a lot of cheers. So I didn't even know I was really doing well until I tap in my last putt and kind of the crowd erupts. And I'm like, what's going on? Turns out I was winning the event. So I end up going to USDGC hole 4 or 5, the one that's the big par five. That was our first tee. So I kind of just get away from everyone, trying to just kind of, I don't know if I'm going into a playoff. So I kind of just keep trying to tell myself I can, I believe, really soak in the moment, look off across the property. I mean, I'm on Winthrop and I have the chance to win a major on this property, which is an insane thing. So my caddy was watching scores. He ended up going and watching kind of the last people so he could be kind of the first to run over and tell me. But yeah, I didn't watch scores. Once again, it was just going to stress me out. I didn't watch any putts. I'd hate to watch a putt where a guy makes a 90 footer to force a playoff. That it wouldn't feel too great. So just kind of focused in on myself, told myself I kept doing it, and then guy ends up missing, other guy ends up missing, and a crowd runs over to me, and I just break down in tears. I couldn't believe it. I mean, I have poured my entire self into this for the past 2 years and pretty much my whole life into disc golf. I mean, I love everything about it, and
Yeah.
I just couldn't control it. I never understood how people could cry after winning, and that was the point number one. It just everything kind of comes out, and you do it.
I, hey
Yeah,
man, I don't think I've cried outside of one instance in maybe my entire adult life, but man, the minute they handed me a baby for the first time and it was mine, oh dude. Yeah, so I understand the crying out of nowhere, man. I couldn't have turned that off if you paid me $1 million right then, man. So,
yeah.
you're obviously emotional. There's some coverage out on the PDGA YouTube. You can go see his speech. So you're running back from hole 4 or whatever. You got to go to the
Yeah.
green of the final hole. You're emotional, you're crying, and now they hand you a trophy and you have to start talking. How do you feel at that minute?
Oh my gosh. All I could hear is my dad going, calm down. You're like, you have your best speaking voice. Like, oh yeah, all my friends were like, just take a deep breath. I was like, gosh, if I could just have 5 minutes, I'd be totally cool. But yeah, it definitely took a second to rebreathe. But something I'd been thinking about all year was that speech. That was driving motivation. Another kind of YouTube clip that kind of I always think about is Dave Feldberg used to travel to tournaments and he would write his victory speech before he had even won. Um, so I would always, when I practiced in the putting room, working out, doing anything, I would kind of just think about who I'm going to thank, um, just kind of numerous things I was going to run through. So that helped that I had rehearsed it so many times. But yeah, it was emotional. I tried to keep it together. I had a few moments where I was like, oof, it got to me, but yeah, I tried to hit everyone.
Yeah, and then you told a company to suck it. that maybe didn't say the kindest things. Don't worry about the company, but like, how did that feel to like kind of let that out in that moment?
Oh my gosh, it felt great. Yeah, I don't I didn't deserve that talk towards me. I had um yeah, so for context, everyone, I had played last year and I was in kind of the final top 16 again, and I had a chance to win it. I was kind of right on that kind of a similar spot to I was. It was super rough conditions, so like kind of a similar score to mine. Last year would have won it as well. But I ended up taking a 10. It was very kind of a tough moment, but a very defining moment in my career. I ended up really finishing strong and getting first team All American after kind of dropping to like 20th place. So I was able to fight back, but said company ended up they were with us following, and then they go on their podcast and talk about how I had blown it and lost out. And that was something I did not want to be remembered for the rest of my life for blowing an opportunity like that. So I used that as motivation. And yeah, I always thought about that. It kept pushing me. So when I was given the chance, I was going to stick it to him, and that's exactly what I did.
Well, I'm glad that the motivation helps you get there either way. You can take it from that company or you can take it from all your friends and family and support and yourself. I mean, you seem like such a self-motivated human too. So, congrats to you on that. Congrats to Ferris's turnout in general. The team did very well. I just said their name on the Disc Golf Daily podcast this morning. So that's always a positive thing. Really just in awe of everything that you guys have done and what Leonard Johnson's done. I reached out to him today. We're gonna set up an interview with him this week. Can't wait
Wonderful.
for him to tell the world more about collegiate disc golf and his history of disc golf, which is very, very impressive. So let's move past collegiate real quick. What's next for Benji in the disc golf world?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm just once again going to try to take advantage of all opportunities I'm given. I Thanks to my win, I got a berth to the USDGC, which I cannot wait for.
Yeah.
Already working on booking and all that stuff and getting scheduled. So can't wait to take advantage of that, soak in that memory, and do the best I can. I'm going to try to do as many events as I can. I'm super grateful through Ferris. I'm going to be going on study abroad from kind of May 9th to June 6th. I'm going to Costa Rica. So that'll help broaden
Wow.
my worldview of whatever. I don't really know any Spanish, but I'm going to learn. So super excited about that. So in terms of that, that might kind of affect some of my tournaments I play. But once again, just going to play as many as local events and maybe kind of do some of that Midwest tour. But yeah, trying to get my name out there and continue to play.
Speaking of your name, did you know that you could use Benji's code at greatlakesdisc.com to support him on his trip back to Winthrop? Benji, what's your code?
1, 2, 3, 0, 0, 8.
I would assume that's his PDGA number without looking, folks. So if you want to support Benji, grab a disc and use his code. Speaking of discs, what's your favorite disc ever?
Oh, I love old Innova. I'm a sucker. Started playing Innova starter pack and kind of never kind of felt pulled away in any sort of way. I have this money puddle top glow gator. That is probably the most stable disc I've ever thrown. It's awesome for approach discs. I have two Toros that are the straightest 300 foot sidearms I've ever thrown. They're amazing. And then some Halo bosses. Those blue ones are super stable, super money. Yeah, those are my favorite discs.
Wow, that's a nice segue. I have a feeling you're about to thank a certain manufacturer for their support. So go ahead and thank any of your sponsors. Now's a great time to do that.
Yeah, I'd love to thank Innova Discs for their support of me. They have done a wonderful job. I have amazing plastics. I feel like I have an amazing connection where I can reach out to a numerous number of people, and they can definitely kind of guide me with whatever I need. And that's kind of the same with Great Lakes Discs. I have been a member on this team for I think 3 or 4 years. Shay, Brian, they have always been there to guide me, set me up with merch discounts, different events. So those guys, foundation of why I can still play disc golf and feel so supported. And then once again, my family, all my sisters, all my brother, my mom and dad, my amazing girlfriend. They definitely make me feel supported, and when I go out and play, I never feel bad. I know they want me to go out there and have fun. And then this Ferris disc golf team, it's a great group of guys. I feel like we are definitely in a new age. We got a kind of younger team. I definitely see we're creating a very, very positive team environment, and I'm very excited to see where we continue to push this.
Well, in honor of Benji's plastic allegiance, we'll say we'll be giving away the Sexton Firebird in the upcoming weeks of this episode being aired. You can be entered to win by Benji. What should they do in the comment section?
Ooh,
Put you on the spot, Mr. Improv, right
oh,
now.
jeez. They should comment their favorite Innova mold.
All right, classic. My favorite Innova mold is the DX Viper, and that is 100% serious.
That's crazy.
I have
Never thrown one.
when I had Innova in my bag, it was my favorite forehand fairway.
Okay. Gotta get my
Yep.
hands on one. I gotta try it.
Yeah. You just you gotta grab a lot because they beat in because they're DX. But yeah,
Yeah, I would imagine.
for sure. Benji, congratulations again. Thank you for your time. You are one of my favorite young people to talk to. You give me hope for the world, Benji. Keep up the good work and thank you.
Thank you, Brian.